This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and this is a follow-up to the Andrew Luck video because Rob Gronkowski came out and did an interview where he discussed how he feels about coming back to the NFL, and he made mention how like people always are asking him when is he coming back and all that, and he went into detail about how football was bringing him down. He was losing the joy for the game. He was not feeling as motivated as he used to be. The pain, things like that, dealing with all that, it was just sucking any enjoyment out of being a football player, and he just was mentally tapped. He talked about how, yeah, physically I probably could come back now, but mentally he just isn't there and wasn't there, and that's why he had to leave, because he was just, he just couldn't do it, his heart wasn't in it anymore. And it seems like a lot of that has to do with his pain, because he was doing a promotion for a pain relief company, and that's when this came up. And it brings to mind like just how different things are now when it comes to players and to people in general. Like for people like me, or I shouldn't say me personally, because I side with the Andrew Lucks and the Ron Gronkowski and that linebacker who quit for the San Francisco 49ers a couple of years ago. I'm with them with leaving the game a lot earlier than people think they should leave it, in order to restore their mental health and to spare themselves serious long-term physical damage, which they already have. I mean, let's not kid yourselves. If you've been playing football as long as they've been playing, the Pee Wee League, through high school, through college, and pros, you've accumulated a lot of physical damage, as you've gotten older. We see college players all the time. Hell, right before I started recording this, there was a story about a linebacker for Alabama that's going to be out for the season because he has to have major surgery. It happens all the time. Physically, players get torn up playing this game. And yes, medical science is much better than it was. People recover at a much higher and faster rate and come back damn near 100%, if not better in some cases, than they do. But think about the mental effect of always having to go through that. Like, injury is not something that you want to keep dealing with over and over, especially when it comes to surgeries. Like Gronk, shit, he could barely hold his arm like straight or anything. Like, he had to wear that sleeve for the last couple of years because his arm was just horrible. And the fact that he's reaching up, catching balls and stuff like that, taking impacts with the, leading with that arm and all that, you can never question his toughness. But the thing is, people aren't about that anymore. Like, again, and this is where I go by people from my age group and older. We grew up in an era where the machismo was high. You had to kind of like show how much of a quote unquote man you were by being tough and going through this. And as you go further back into older generations of football, these guys, talk about how like they played with torn muscles and shit like that. I remember this former Baltimore Colt used to be on TV. He was like, yeah, I was out there, like I blew out my arm and fucked up the muscle. It was so bad that it was drooping, but I still played. Like, it, barely functioning arm muscles, but you're still out there dragging your ass around because you're a warrior and all that. And it's like, okay, that sounds glorious and all that, but when you look back and think about it, it's like, yo, is it? because you look at them at an older age and it's like, yeah, these stories sound great and quaint and all that, but you fucked up, my dude. Like, you don't look too comfortable. You don't look like you're in good health at all. You don't look like you're living a comfortable life. And you know, these players these days, you know, with the current generation, people ain't like trying to go out there and impress anybody by showing their toughness. It's part of the reason why you see a lot of younger people veer away from sports, in fact, I think, because that whole specter of the gridiron glory and the battles on the court and all that stuff, that's not, you know, as appealing, especially when they look at like the aftermath of some of these people and the things that could happen to them, but especially in football. And I think that's why you're getting a lot more football players within this generation that are saying, yeah, I love playing it, I have fun playing it, but I don't want to be like, you know, fucked up. Sure, it's nice to be remembered as a great player and like to win championships and the competition, but at the end of the day, I kind of also want to be able to walk away and live my life. Hell, I just want to be able to walk away, which is some people have a hard time doing, you know, without huge amounts of comfort. It's just like here in Washington, we have a player dispute. You know, Trent Williams, offensive lineman, he's holding out because he doesn't want to play for the team anymore because the medical staff basically hid a tumor from him. I believe it was a brain tumor, in fact, because they wanted him out there to perform because he's their best offensive lineman. And that's the thing. You got these medical staffs that are pushing you, these coaches, teammates, everybody, like, you know, in the organization especially, not necessarily the other players. I mean, the players are more understanding, but there are going to be some players that are going to be like, yo, I think you're a bitch for not coming out here when I'm out here doing this, that, and the third with like these injuries and all that. But the organization is the pressure to play and to win and to get the paycheck, you know, it's heavy. You know, and you got these coaches who want to keep their jobs, the owners who want to generate funds, you know, to put in their bank accounts and all of that. They ain't caring about you, and it's up to you to not succumb to the pressure. And I think that pressure is become less of a domineering thing than it was back when I was younger. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, no. At the end of the day, you gotta take care of yourself, especially when it comes to your health. Like, all of us should understand, especially even if you're not an athlete. I mean, we all have probably faced the point where we've worked ourselves to the bone for a job just so we can get some extra hours, just so we can pay for bills, or we can do something nice for someone in our family, stuff like that. We've all grinded. Now take that grind and like add the extreme level of physical abuse that athletes put, you know. And I'm not saying like their whole situation is worse than ours, because at the end of the day, all of us abuse ourselves physically and mentally for cash. Like that's probably a whole separate video, but we all abuse ourselves to get paid and to, you know, get accolades, to be looked at as, you know, the best in something, what have you, whatever the motivation is. We've all done stuff to abuse ourselves, and we don't like it. A lot of us don't really care for it and like it. Some of us feel like we have to when we shouldn't. And you know, you gotta give these guys credit for not buying into that whole I have to do this because this is what I'm supposed to do mentality. This is what makes me, you know, such and such. You know, it's, again, hey, if that's how you want to do things, that's cool, and it works for you and you become very, very successful, congratulations. But at the same time, think about what you're sacrificing in order to achieve that. For some people, it's perfectly fine. They're willing to sacrifice everything and all just to achieve that. Some, they're only willing to go but so far. And that's what I feel like people like Andrew Luck and Rob Gronkowski is. Again, it's not like they weren't toughing it out and they weren't playing. They loved to play and they wanted to do these things, but they got to a point where they realized, yo,
I'm going to leave myself in a state that I'm not comfortable with. So I got to get out before I go too far. And that's perfectly fine. You can't question their heart. You can't question, their commitment or anything like that, because they did it. That's the thing. And I think that's what bothers me again, going back to the Andrew Luck booze that he got. It's like, yo, this man was committed. He committed his body, and finally it got to a point where he's like, yo, I think I've had enough, because I don't want to lose everything physically and mentally. That's fine. He gave you a huge effort. It's okay if he wants to take time now and take care of himself. Fuck. But that's the mentality that we have now, and I'm all 100% for it. Seriously, we all have struggle. I'm going through mental hell right now myself. It is not because I'm playing a physical sport. I'm doing this just having a regular job. I wish that I could do certain things to not have to do what I have to do to accomplish certain goals or to take care of certain priorities and things like that. These people were blessed enough to be able to do something that they love, to make enough money to be comfortable enough to say, yo, I'm done with it. And we all would love to be in that position. And I'm not going to knock them for it. I'm not even really envying them for it. I admire them for being able to do that. Sure, I wish I was there, but at the same time, I'm not going to knock any man for accomplishing what they accomplished, because they got where they did because they worked hard, and they're, ready to relax and actually enjoy the fruits of their labor. We all should have that opportunity. We all should be happy to see somebody get to that point that a lot of us want to get to, but, it is what it is. Fandom is something else, the loyalty and the passion that we show for our teams sometimes clouds us to real life facts of the situation. And I think Gronk's comments were very, very refreshing, because to look at him, he was very, very emotional about this. He was just like, yo, guys, I love you fans. I love playing football, but I'm done. Mentally, I'm tapped right now, and maybe one day it'll come back, maybe it won't, but it ain't coming back today. So chill. And I think people need to just really chill. Let the man enjoy his life. Let the men enjoy their lives. Let anybody who's able to walk away from something that they love because it's not working for them as well as it was before, and they're ready to settle down and do something new. Let them do that. It's perfectly fine. We really need to stop being so hard on athletes for something like that. Maybe it's just a form of jealousy that we express, because again, a lot of us would love to be in a position that they are, to where they can retire at that age and live comfortably, and to not have to grind and break ourselves mentally and physically like they don't have to anymore. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, nah. Y'all need to get over yourselves and stop going after these dudes for making life decisions, like I said in the Luck video. Anyway, as always, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Blak, making I'm out. Deuces.